welcome to Tennessee's At-Home Learning Series for Literacy. Today's lesson is for 8th grade students in Tennessee, though everyone is welcome to tune in. This lesson is the first in our series. Hi, my name is Mr. Ayers, and I am an 8th grade English teacher in Tennessee schools. I am so excited to be your teacher for this lesson, and welcome to my virtual classroom. Today we will be learning about point of view. Before we get started, to participate fully in our lesson today, you will need something to write with, something to write on, and 2 pieces of blank paper. I'm going to give you a few seconds to hunt down your materials and be ready. Great. I hope you have everything ready and you're ready for today's lesson. So let's get started. So to begin with, I want to start off by reading to you just a very short passage. And as I read it, I almost just want you to close your eyes and just imagine the scene in front of you and think about how you feel as I'm reading it. So listen as I read. It's a dark, foggy night. Thunder can be heard in the distance. Suddenly, lightning lights up the sky to show a castle sitting on the edge of a cliff. The castle has one lone light shining out into the gloom. So let's think about that passage we just read. And so the first thing to explore is just how did you picture the castle and storm in your mind? And then the second question I want you to think about is, how did the reading of the scene make you feel? So on your paper that you have, just jot down a few notes, and I'm going to give you 30 seconds to do that. Great. So let me share with you some of the things that I wrote down when I was thinking about that particular reading. I wrote down the word afraid, anxious, and scared. Because I know if I was walking through the woods and it was already storming and there was lightning and all of a sudden out in the distance I saw a castle just seem like it appears in the night sky, I would definitely feel all those things. So let's try to think about it in some different ways though. The same passage, but let's think about it as if we were just in the forest. We got stuck because the storm came up much faster than we anticipated. We are cold, we are hungry, and we are just looking for a warm place to get out of the storm for the night. Take 30 seconds to write down some notes of how, thinking of it in this way, how you would feel. 30 seconds. Great. How I would feel when I saw that castle, scared would come to my mind. I'm sure that you put something similar. Some of you may have even put the word like relief, because again, we're stuck in the storm, we're cold, we're hungry, and at least it's a warm place to sleep that night. So let's take one different look. Again, same passage, same castle appearing in the distance, but this time you have lived here your entire life. You have been gone for a month. Maybe you're a hero in the story and you've gone on a quest and you've been gone for a long time and you finally are seeing home again. Take a minute to write down, how would you feel seeing the castle this time? I'll be right back. Great. So yeah, it's a little different this time, isn't it? Words like relief or happiness comes to mind now, don't they? Maybe even a relaxed feel, because after all, we're finally home. Maybe we're going into mom's cooking, or the cook, when we know, will have something ready for us, or there's going to be a nice roaring fire for us to relax in front of. It definitely changes in each of those different scenarios. So let's now think about what we noticed about how our perspective affects our feeling about the castle. So in the first reading, it was just that it's a dark and stormy night reading. We are in the wilderness, we are kind of stuck in the storm, and all of a sudden that castle appears in the lightning. And so we said that here it makes us feel afraid, it makes us anxious, and it could even make us feel scared. In the second reading, we are stuck in the storm still, but we really want some shelter. We are hungry, we are cold. Maybe we have family with us that we need to take care of, or we're just being selfish and we want to take care of ourselves. And so here, when we see shelter, we probably are still a little fearful. We have some fear about what we see, but we probably also have some relief, like, I can get in out of this storm and have someplace safe for the night. In the third reading, our mindset really changes. It is a place that we're familiar with, and we are really coming home after being gone for an extended amount of time. And so here we are happy, we are relieved, we are excited to get indoors and to be home again. So here, if we think about it, our point of view is what is changing. And authors use point of view when trying to influence their reader's perspective on things like setting, character, or maybe even the whole plot. We're going to be discussing that in our upcoming unit. So here's our goal for this unit. By the end of the unit, you will understand how authors use narrator and point of view to influence the reader's perspective and understanding. Second, you will write using different points of view to impact meaning. Now, I know that sounds like a lot. And our unit's going to take this week, we're going to focus 5 days on it. But if you'll stick with me, we'll be able to get through it and you will have a much better understanding of point of view and perspective. So let's start our conversation about point of view and perspective by analyzing and determining the artist's meaning in a painting. But before we do that, let's kind of tie that back to that castle that we saw in the wilderness and talk about the difference between perspective and point of view. Our perspective on something is based on our background knowledge. For example, based on what we've read in other stories, lightning on a dark castle usually means something bad is going to happen. But if it is our home, it doesn't matter if it's stormy. It's going to seem like a good place to be. Point of view, on the other hand, is the eyes or lens through which we see something. For example, instead of ourselves seeing the castle and basing it on our background knowledge, what if we are seeing it through the eyes of a character that had a great time exploring an old castle? Would that change how we feel about the castle? I'm sure you said yes. It's obvious that the character loves old castles, and since we are seeing the castle through the character's eyes, then because we know a little about the character, we know that he or she must be feeling excited about the opportunity to explore another one. The question is, why? Well, because now we are using the knowledge of the character's background and not our own. Suddenly the emotions that we feel are because of the character's emotions toward castles. And so if you were in my typical classroom, I would probably use an example like Scooby-Doo. If you think about the cartoon Scooby-Doo, you have several different characters. If this was Fred or Velma seeing this castle in the middle of the night, they would be excited and want to go explore. But if you were Shaggy or Scooby, they would be scared and would definitely not be looking forward to going into that castle. They want to get back home and have some Scooby snacks. So let's take what we just talked about that picture of the castle, and let's apply it to looking at this painting. This painting is called The Treachery of Images. It is by an artist named Rene Magritte, and look at the line below the pipe. Yeah, it's written in French. It says, "This is not a pipe." So let me think out loud for a minute to show you how I would start processing and thinking about this painting and its meaning. Well, it sure looks like a pipe. But the line under it says, "This is not a pipe." The title says, "The Treachery of Images." So I know that treachery means something can't be trusted. Of images, so the image can't be trusted. So is the message of the painting that I can't trust my own eyesight? Maybe the artist is trying to say, even though it looks like a pipe, it's not. So now think about the painting entitled Meaning like I just did. I'm going to ask you some questions and give you a minute, 2 minutes to think about the question and jot down some answers. I want you to see if your thinking matches mine. It doesn't have to be word for word. It doesn't even have to be the same. Just get some thoughts down on paper. You'll have an opportunity to go back and add to or edit your responses. So 3 questions that I want you to think of. What is this a painting of? Is this really a pipe? What is the author trying to say by painting a picture of a pipe and then say, this is not a pipe? All right, so I'm going to give you 2 minutes, and to begin with, I want you to just focus on the first 2 questions. Think about just those 2, and then we'll jump down to the third one. So 2 minutes for the first 2 questions. Ready? Go. Great. All right. So let's think about some answers we put down. I'm thinking there's going to be lots of different answers. So the first one is, what is this a painting of? Well, it really looks like a pipe, so I think it's a painting of a pipe. And then the second question, is this really a pipe? So I know what a pipe looks like. My dad used to smoke a pipe, so I can imagine when I look at it, how it looked when he would hold it, how he would put tobacco in, how he would smoke, and the smoke would come out. So I'm going to say, yeah, that's definitely a pipe. But then you could have said, there's no way it is really a pipe. This is a painting of a pipe, but it is not a real pipe. In fact, the picture says, I can't believe my eyes. So honestly, I don't know what it is. And then finally, what if you've never seen a pipe? Perhaps your answer would be, I think it might be a pipe, but I need to go look for a picture somewhere, or maybe the internet, before I can really tell you the answer to the question. So do you see how thinking about the way we see the painting, or our perspective from which we see it, can really change its meaning? So now let's take a look at that final question. I want to think about, what is the author trying to say by painting a picture of a pipe and then saying, this is not a pipe? I want you to use the way that I modeled my thinking earlier to think about the question. I want you to really try to stretch your thinking. How could this painting look like it's a pipe, but not really be a pipe? So go ahead and take a couple of minutes to think about it and jot down some ideas. Remember, you don't have to have exactly what I have, but we'll compare in 2 minutes to see how close we are. All right? Are you ready? 2 minutes. Great. Now remember, it doesn't have to be exactly the same, but let's think about some things I have written down. So when I think of a pipe, I think of something that you put tobacco in and light it. The tobacco smells, and I can see the smoke. So remember that I said, let's really stretch our thinking on this. Can I actually put tobacco in this pipe? No. Can I light that pipe and smell the tobacco burning? Well, no, it's a painting. So I can see a pipe, but in reality, it is just a painting. It is not a real pipe. So then what is this a painting of? I'm sure you said it's a painting of a pipe. So did I. But maybe we were even more specific by describing its color and its bent stem. But is it really a pipe? So my thinking is, no, it's not really a pipe. All right. So now I want you to switch our thinking a little bit. We've looked at a painting. And now let's look at a quote that the artist made about the painting. I'm going to read to you a quotation by the artist, and I want you to think about what he's trying to tell us here. The famous pipe. Oh, how people reproached me for it, and yet could you stuff my pipe? No, it's a representation, is it not? So, if I had written on my picture, this is a pipe, I'd been lying. So for the rest of our time today, I want you to use what we've talked about and think about and write a short answer for the following 2 questions. What does the artist mean by he would be lying if he had written, this is a pipe on his painting? And then, how do point of view and perspective shape our understanding of the world? Go ahead and take a couple of minutes to jot down your answers to those questions. Great. I hope you had some fun thinking about those questions and really stretching your thought about what the artist was trying to mean and interpreting the title and things, but and thinking about it from different perspectives. Well, everyone, thank you so much. I enjoyed learning about point of view and perspective with you today. Thank you for inviting me into your home. I look forward to seeing you in our next lesson in Tennessee's At Home Learning Series. Thank you. Goodbye.